Hello Maya, how are you?
Hmm. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. It's such a pleasure to
Maya, how
be
are
talking with you. I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be chatting with you today. How are things going in your world?
you? My name is Mohammed Hashir Rehan and I am student of Rehan to Quetta campus. Today my topic is about what is the matter, the root of concern. My first question is what does the phrase what is the matter mean?
So nice to meet you, Mohammed. That is a wonderful topic to dive into. When someone asks, "What is the matter?" they are essentially asking, "What is wrong?" or if something is bothering you. It's a phrase used when a person notices that you might be feeling sad, upset, worried, or even just acting a little bit differently than usual. For example, if a friend sees you sitting alone with a frown on your face, they might, come over and ask, "What is the matter?" Because they can tell something is off and they want to understand what happened. It's a way of checking in on someone's emotional state. It's not just about the facts of what happened, but more about the feeling behind it. It's like saying, "I notice you don't seem like your usual self, and I'm here to listen if you want to talk about it." It is a very caring way to start a conversation when you want to help someone feel better or solve a problem that is making them unhappy.
When do people usually say what is the matter?
People usually say, "What is the matter?" when they notice a change in someone's mood or behavior that seems negative. Imagine you're at school and you see a classmate who is usually very bubbly and talkative, but today they're sitting quietly at their desk, staring at the floor and not talking to anyone. That change is a signal. When a friend or a teacher notices that, they might ask, "What is the matter?" Because the person's energy has shifted from happy to sad or stressed. It's also very common to hear this when someone is physically showing signs of distress. For example, if someone starts crying, or if they look really frustrated, maybe they're sighing a lot, rubbing their temples because they're overwhelmed. It's a way of acknowledging that the other person is going through something difficult in that exact moment. Beyond just sadness, it can be used for confusion or worry. If you're looking at a math problem and you have a look of complete confusion on your face, a teacher might walk over and ask, "What is the matter?" In this case, they aren't necessarily asking if you're sad, but rather asking what the specific problem or matter is that's causing you to be stuck. Basically, it happens whenever there is a visible gap between how a person normally acts and how they are acting right now. It's the bridge a person builds to move from just observing that someone is upset to actually trying to help them.
Is this phrase used to show care?
If you mean whether people use this phrase to show that they care about someone, then yes, absolutely. Asking "What is the matter?" is a very strong way of showing empathy and kindness. When you use those words, you are telling the other person, "I see you. I notice that you're struggling, and I care enough to ask about it." It shows that you aren't just ignoring their feelings, but that you're paying attention to them. It's like extending a hand to someone who is feeling alone in their sadness or worry. By asking the question, you're creating a safe space for them to open up. For a lot of people, just knowing that someone else noticed they were upset can make them feel a little bit better even before they start explaining what happened. Makes them feel less alone in their struggle. It also shows a level of emotional maturity. It takes a certain amount of awareness to notice when someone else's mood has changed. and the courage to ask them about it. So when someone says this to you, or when you say it to someone else, it's a signal of support and a sign that the relationship is built on care and mutual concern.
Maya, how is what is the matter different from what is wrong?
That is such a sharp question, Mohammed. On the surface, what is the matter and what is wrong sound almost exactly the same. And in many situations, you can use either one and people will understand you perfectly. But if we look a little closer, there is a tiny, subtle difference in the feeling behind them. What is the matter? Often feels a bit more gentle and open. It's like you're noticing a general cloud over someone's mood. When you ask, what is the matter? You're often focusing on the person's emotional state. You're saying, I can tell something is bothering you, and I'm here if you want to share it. It feels like an invitation to talk about feelings, whether it's sadness, worry, or just a bad day. What is wrong, on the other hand, can sometimes feel a bit more direct and focused on a specific problem. It often implies that something has actually gone wrong or broken. For example, if you see someone staring at their computer with a look of total frustration, you might ask, like, what is wrong? Because you assume there is a technical glitch or a mistake that needs to be fixed. It's more about the problem than the feeling. Think of it like this. What is the matter is like asking, how is your heart feeling? While what is wrong is like asking, what is the problem that needs to be solved? Of course, most people use them interchangeably. If a parent sees their child crying, they might ask either one, and both are coming from a place of love and concern. But what is the matter generally has a softer, more emotional quality to it. Whereas what is wrong can feel a bit more like you're trying to diagnose a specific issue.
How can asking what is the matter help a friend?
Asking what is the matter can be a real game changer for a friend because it lets them know they aren't invisible. When a friend is struggling, they often feel like they're carrying a heavy weight all by themselves. They might think that nobody notices their sadness or that they are bothering people by being upset. When you step in and ask that question, you're essentially lifting some of that weight off their shoulders. You're telling them, I see you, and your feelings are important enough for me to stop and ask about them. First, it provides emotional relief. Sometimes, just the act of being asked allows a person to let go of their emotions. It's like opening a valve on a pressure cooker. Once they realize someone cares, they might feel safe enough to cry or vent, which is the first step toward feeling better. It transforms their experience from, I am alone in this, to, I am supported in this. Second, it helps them process their own thoughts. A lot of times when we're upset, our feelings are just a big, messy knot in our heads. By asking the question, you're giving your friend a chance to put those feelings into words. As they explain what is the matter, they might actually start to understand their own problem more clearly. They might realize, wait, I'm not actually mad at my friend, I'm just stressed about my project. And that realization can be very helpful. Third, it opens the door for practical help. You can't help someone solve a problem if you don't know what the problem is. By asking first, you find out exactly what they need. Maybe they don't need a solution at all. Maybe they just need a hug, a walk, or someone to sit in silence with them. Or maybe they really are stuck on a task and just need a little bit of your help to get through it. Ultimately, it strengthens the bond of trust between you. When you consistently show up for your friends in their low moments and ask how they're doing, it builds a deep sense of security. Your friend learns that you are a safe person. someone they can trust with their truth. That kind of loyalty and empathy is what makes a friendship go from being just a casual acquaintance to a lifelong bond.
My last question is, what are some kind ways to respond when someone asks, what is the matter?
That's a great way to wrap things up, Mohammed, because knowing how to answer is just as important as knowing how to ask. Depending on how you're feeling and who is asking, there are a few different ways you can respond. First, if you feel comfortable and want to share, you can be direct and honest. You might say, I'm just feeling a bit overwhelmed with my schoolwork, or I'm actually a little sad because I had a fight with a friend. This is the best way to get the support you need because it tells the other person exactly what's going on. It allows them to be there for you in the right way, whether that's giving you advice or just listening. Second, there are times when you might be upset, but you aren't quite ready to talk about it yet. That is perfectly okay. In those moments, you can be polite but set a boundary. You could say, I'm going through something right now, but I'm not really ready to talk about it yet. Thank you for asking, though. This is a very healthy response because it acknowledges the other person's kindness and care, but it also protects your own space until you feel safe and ready to open up. Third, sometimes you might be feeling a bit off, but you can't quite put your finger on why. We all have those days where we just feel grumpy or tired without a specific reason. In that case, you can say, I'm not entirely sure what it is. I just feel a bit down today. This is honest and helpful because it lets the other person know that you aren't necessarily upset with them, and it takes the pressure off you to find a perfect explanation. And finally, if you're actually doing fine and the other person just misread your expression, you can simply reassure them. A warm, oh, nothing is the matter. I was just thinking deeply about something. I'm doing great, thank you for checking on me, clears up the confusion and makes the other person feel good for being observant and caring. No matter which one you choose, adding a thank you for asking at the end is a wonderful touch. It shows that you appreciate their empathy and it keeps the connection between you and your friend or teacher strong and positive.
Thank you, Maya. Nice talking with you.
You are so welcome, Mohammed. It was truly a pleasure talking with you today. You asked some really thoughtful questions about how we care for each other. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, Mohammed. It was great chatting with you. Take care.